Hello and welcome. I am the Love Lady, Seraphina Love, and I am really excited about today's topic. It is something near and dear to my heart and something that my guides, the monad, the love light, has shown me repeatedly in my life and in the life of others that this works so well, and it actually cannot fail. So the topic for today is how to dream bigger, and specifically how to dream your life into a bigger, bolder, broader, more vibrant experience of love. And the whole game of dreaming, by the way, is a conversation with the universe, your higher self, your inner self, the life force, the milieu in which we live, that says to the milieu, this is what I want. In my sovereign power, I am big enough. I am enough. I love enough. I care enough. I'm willing to point my attention in the direction of what I want enough that the milieu, the life force, the universe cannot help but yield and deliver to you exactly what you want. And the trick of this is it also wants what you want. It is you, you are it. We are all one. We are all together, right? But it is literally you, you are literally it. So this dance of dreaming bigger from wherever you find yourself is more about finding the different perspectives that you're able to hold and the different ways you can deploy your attention in such a way that you can imagine yourself as the person living this bigger, fuller, dreamier life. And then taking the steps to actually live it. So let's dive into some of the specifics of this. So first and foremost, when you are dreaming bigger, when one is dreaming bigger. So I'm going to use myself as an example because it's worked for me so many times, but also I have dreams for this channel, for this show, for this service. I have been in a couple of, well, several actually different careers throughout my life. I'm interested in a lot of different things. But this sharing of love, this gathering together with others in the pursuit of focusing on love, expanding the love light, expanding our love connection with each other, and getting to be a cheerleader for that, a spokesperson for that, a counselor for that, an encourager for that, an interpreter of that message, a facilitator for others to live a more love-filled life, to enjoy more loving relationships and more of them. I mean, this has been a lifelong dream for me, and it's taken a lot of courage. I think, as I've mentioned before, if you've watched any of my previous episodes, I am an extreme introvert. Even though people tell me I present very effervescently and enthusiastically, and I present like an extrovert, and I can work a room, and I can be the life of a party. And that is a lot for me. Where you will find me when I have a couple of weeks off to myself is either snorkeling with my face in the water alone, preferably, or if it's a little bit dangerous, with a dear loved one, a close friend, my beloved, but we're not talking, right? And I'm spending a lot of time looking at fish and whales and turtles and whatever happens to be in the great depths of the ocean, or scuba diving. But even there, no talking, right? Or if I'm in a colder climate, you're gonna find me hiking in silence, again with one of my beloveds, or alone, and you're going to find me with my nose in a book for the whole day. Like, I like to be alone. I'm really comfortable being alone. I am one of those people who loves meditating. I love the expansiveness of having my eyes closed. I take hours long baths. I mean, if it can be, if it's a relaxing, recharging, self-caring, self-expanding, loving, peaceful, facilitating state of being, I'm in. So doing something public where I'm sharing the deepest parts of myself in any way is a bit uncomfortable. And I am an odd duck. I'm an odd little bird. And I've got I've got some wild experiences and swaths of my life. I mean, I've been ungraceful. I've been afraid a lot of the time. I've been fearful. I've been very angry. I have been, certainly from other people's perspective, quite unhinged multiple times. I've had my own struggles with addictions of all sorts to screens, but also to chemicals and to overworking. Like I have a kind of a personality that tends to want to dive full on into something. And so learning how to manage that, how to dance with that, because that energy is also just a beautiful driver of let's get it done. Let's move forward on our big dreams. So the first critical piece for dreaming bigger is putting yourself into the most expansive perspective that you can manage. And so if you can manage viewing yourself from the perspective of the monad, of the love light, of the source, of your guides, of some being that is so powerful, so massive, so infinitely intelligent, so unconditionally loving, who thinks that you are the pinnacle of existence. And I don't mean in an egoic way. I mean for like really your unique expression as the absolute masterpiece of a life force expression that you are, and what it is capable of, what you are capable of as an expression of infinite intelligence, infinite unconditional love, extraordinary power, extraordinary ability. If you can find a way to view yourself from that lens, which is you, in a dimension, an aspect, right, of you, that is you, right? If you can find a way to view yourself as that and dream from there, so from that perspective, what are you capable of? And the answer is truly anything that you can conceive of actually doing and being. Now that's the trick, right? Because you, in this lovely physical form, in this magnificent body that's doing the seeing, that's doing the hearing, that's doing the feeling, that's doing the doing, that's doing the tasting and smelling and living and braving and acting, right? This 3D form is the mechanism. This is the instrument for all of that love, all of that power, all of that intelligence. And you have to be able to imagine you or some version of you in as this body, in as this mind, in as this made physical soul, this made physical love light, doing, living, feeling, being, thinking from that bigger, more expansive, more intelligent, braver, higher vibrating, self. Now it is still you. There is still a thread in there that is still you. And because you are also the monad, you are also the love light, you are also the source, you are also your guides, you are also of that energy. You are the stardust, you are the starlight. Because you are also that. You can know for sure that the capacity to be that bigger dreamed of version of yourself is certainly there. If you have ever done something, ever made yourself into a version of yourself that has been able to achieve dreams that you are more proud of, that has done a better thing, that has done a braver thing, you've been able to achieve a goal that, remember, from the other side, from the start side of that goal, you did not think you could do. In fact, the more scary the goal seemed, the further away it seemed, the harder it seemed. And we do a funny thing, and I do this to myself, right? We do a funny thing when we achieve a goal where we go like, oh yeah, good, I did that. And it seemed easy. At the point of achievement, it seemed easy. When you started on the path, it seemed impossible. I mean, really, or like there was maybe I can get myself to do this. Maybe there's a chance. Maybe if enough luck, if enough helpful people, if enough dominoes fell into place, right? And then on the other side of achieving that goal, it seems like the most natural thing in the world. And it's helpful for us if we understand that that is the yoga of dream fulfillment, right? That our practice, our work, play, movement, action, learning, skill acquisition, meeting of people, engaging with life, moving through, over, around obstacles, is the yoga of growing into, expanding into, becoming into the bigger version of yourself, the more expansive, more powerful, higher vibrating version of yourself that is then the liver of the achieved goal that is inevitable. It can't not happen from that larger, more expanded, bigger, higher vibrating perspective that you are then living, right? And I have achieved this multiple times in my life in multiple different areas of life, right? And so I am living proof. I promise you this works if you've never experienced it, but you yourself know if you've ever achieved a goal. And even those, like, we've all learned to walk. We've probably all learned to read. We've learned to use technology, right? All of those things seemed really difficult at one time in our lives, even if we don't remember. And we did it because we saw that it was possible. We saw the example of somebody else doing it. We imagined that it was possible. And this is true of all of your goals, dreams, right? I imagine that this show has impacted the lives of billions of people. I imagine that this wave of love that we are creating in this gathering, in the love community that is generated by this channel and generated by the work, generated by this work that I channel, this playing that I do with the life force, is going to impact billions of people and help their lives be brighter and better. And that wave takes over humanity on the planet and becomes the obvious way we point our attention. And it overcomes the nicklings of fear. It overcomes the desire to control other people, which arises from fear. And it allows us to feel and experience the fear and then make another choice to act from the loving place of confidence and infinite intelligence and infinite love that is so expansive that it can hold the fear and say, yes, there are a lot of hard things about being a human being, and we can choose better. And we can choose in this moment something better, something different, something more beautiful, something a little more intelligent, something that affirms and validates the unconditionally, infinitely loving, supportive, positive aspect of ourselves that is constantly yearning to be lived, to be chosen, to be attended to. And then the last critical piece is letting go and detaching from the old version of yourself. And this can be very difficult to do, especially if you were not terrifically unhappy. Like if the older versions of yourself were relatively content, relatively comfortable, relatively positive and optimistic. You know, and we've all had to develop some coping mechanisms and some rigidity, especially as children, in whatever contexts, right? Like in the context of dealing with other children, of interacting with the larger world, because there's so much we don't understand. And there's actually so much stuff that doesn't make any sense about how human beings operate in society and within families, right? There's a lot of, I mean, we call them defense mechanisms, but they're really tools. I mean, there's just tools that we sort of develop and use. And and they worked for us, that's how we got here, right? Or they are working for us, that's how we got here. And then there And then we're asking ourselves, by dreaming bigger, by dreaming something bigger, we're asking ourselves to set down those old tools so that we can live with either new tools, or we can just soar as ourselves with the new tools, new skills, new abilities of the new version, the bigger version, the version that's living the biggest dream we can imagine. And with that, I wish you a love-filled day, a love-filled week, a love-filled